Greetings, my name is Nadir Sherrod. I'm a part of a group of 4 students at Prescott College in our class Explorations in Community Development. We studied the natural history and ecology of Butte Creek in Prescott, Arizona. In our exploration, we noticed that a sustainable community models itself after and has within it the natural patterns that occur in nature.
Turning to nature as the model is within itself the approach to designing sustainably. She's got 3.8 billion years of research and development behind her, telling us exactly what is sustainable and what's not. Because what's not didn't last, didn't make it.
The creek that I'm next to now is known as Butte Creek. It is a small tributary of Granite Creek, one of the 11 creeks in Prescott, Arizona.
This rendition here is a geographically sound metal sculpture of our Granite Creek watershed. And in our watershed, it's known as an urban landscape, which has a variety of non-point pollution sources. And part of our job is to mitigate that pollution as much as possible. So why is pollution important to be aware of, and how does it affect food in our landscape as well as the vegetation? Well, non-point pollution is caused from oil sources, from cars, as well as paints, and anything that kind of falls on a hardscape or a road. And then when it rains, it comes rushing down into the major creeks and then flashes. And what happens is, during these pollutant sources, such as dog poop and other things, it actually changes the chemistry in the soil, which makes it harder for native plants to exist. We work with permaculture principles to capture some of the runoff and capture that non-point pollution in a basin, and we slow it, sink it, spread it, and that excess water we then use for more water-intensive plants, such as gala apple trees, apricot trees. We also have golden and black currants on campus, and there's a variety of plants that also provide medicinal uses as well.
Permaculture, often known as permanent culture or permanent agriculture, depending on if you're the Mollison or David Holmgren variety. I teach permaculture as a set of principles that root any design in an ecological or sustainable foundation.
Balancing the needs of a community and its ecosystem is a delicate task. Rivers and creeks bring nutrients through a community. The slower and deeper that water flows through the community, the more abundant that nutrients will be.
Clean water is a necessity to a healthy, clean human being. So you can synonymously correlate clean air, clean water to a healthy ecosystem, to a healthy person, to a healthy community. However, there are also examples, there are very thriving, healthy communities in Hong Kong where their clean air is not a thing. Where clean water is scarce. So I want to stray away from making blanket statements about that, but we should, as human communities, strive for healthy ecosystems because they then give back to us in our personal health.
Two of permaculture's principles is to observe and then interact. These two principles are repeated to emphasize the importance of a community first observing and understanding what is happening to the environment in order to take the best course of action for helping the environment they live in thrive.
It's a systematic approach, and you have to look at it that way. There are many different layers happening, and it's always changing, which makes it very difficult at times, but also really exciting too, to face these challenges. And there really isn't a final solution. It's more of how can we continuously live our lives in kind of harmony with our own landscape. And it allows this wonderful opportunity of connecting all these different walks of life, whether you are privileged or not, to work with nature and consume what is readily available and help it grow. You can just walk in your own backyard, and that diminishes ecological footprint. It also creates a higher sense of place, and generally people are more healthier. They're not consuming genetically modified foods. They're connecting more with the natural landscape, and by consuming native plants, it also increases their immunity. They're being exposed to the native pollens, and they're able to live a more healthier lifestyle.
Permaculturalists use a tool known as zoning to prioritize the needs and wants in a design.
How does zoning create access to food and other nutrient? You would put that in a zone 1, which is a high priority zone, an easily accessible zone, so that the community has access to it. The closer an element is to a nexus or a hub of human activity, the more it is nurtured, it is tended, it is taken care of, it is covered by oasis. So to answer your question, food and nutrient would be of high priority and in a zone 1.
The quality of nutrients of any kind is dependent on the condition of balance in an environment. Nutrition native to a community, like native plants, helps a community to attain sustainability.
Really, the importance of native plants is that they are of place, and developing a sense of place is the healthiest and most sustainable thing that you can do without needing any support from the outside. And that's what a native plant does. And this kind of ties into the whole idea of systems dynamic science or systems thinking, which is everything creates an output, and that output needs to be an input to another part of the system.
Our exploration in natural history and ecology brought us to topics of sustainability, permaculture, nutrients, natural patterns, and community, which all, if balanced with each other, culminate to create a thriving environment for us to live in.
So by educating people on the landscape is a phenomenal way of getting them reconnected to the landscape. When people feel connected, they feel that they have a sense of responsibility to better that environment. And that's what it takes. It takes multiple different people from different generations coming together and collaborating on long-term solutions.
So I'm assuming that means we're rolling. Right? Yeah.
We should add that to the video.
This will be the ending credits. That was pretty good.